What's up everyone? Hope you guys are having the best day ever. So first of all, it's a brand new episode, and today we are gonna actually talk about does lifting weights directly helps you burn body fat. So before I actually deep dive into this dive into this podcast, I want to actually have an ask is the fact that if you enjoy or get value out of this podcast episode, just make sure to subscribe, follow, or share it with someone who will actually get value. And on the description, there are a few ebooks you can actually get, which will actually get more value as well. So you can download by clicking the link on that. So going into this topic, I'm gonna actually talk about this topic based on 4 main segments. So number 1 is to actually understand how your body burns energy. And number 2 is actually the real power of muscle growth. So that's what I have named it. And number 3 is body composition versus scale drop. And number 4 is the hormones which are hidden drivers of fat loss. So before I actually go down and explain actually what is actually possible when you are lifting weights, whether it's actually going to help you lose fat faster or not, because most of the time I've come across a lot of individuals who actually say this factor, which says that I'm not losing fat because I'm not working out whatsoever. So I want to actually debunk that, and I want to let you know is the fact that when you're actually working out, you're not gonna burn body fat. So that's actually a fact, and I'm gonna be explaining that. And also at the same time, I want to actually tell you is the fact that I saw a Facebook post recently showing Ronnie Coleman with regards to him where he's at right now, just because he done bodybuilding. So if you do bodybuilding, this is where it's gonna end up. So I completely disagree with that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Bodybuilding isn't actually what you think, and just because you lift weights, you're not gonna get bulky. So females, if you're listening to this, you can't get bulky just by lifting weights. You're just gonna get in shape, and you're gonna get toned when you lift weights. And you can't actually become a bodybuilder by just lifting weights. It's a long ass process, and there are advanced enhanced athletes when it comes to bodybuilding, and also natural version of it. So I chose the natural path when it came to bodybuilding, and that's what I have done. So it's actually a personal choice. So one of the things I want to let you know about Ronnie Coleman is the fact that if you actually truly watch his documentary, because this post was made by a renowned doctor from my hometown, and when you want to prove a certain point which justifies your own thing, people actually go into the extreme of showing things to the general population which they do not do their own research, because you need to come things with facts, proper actual facts. If you actually go into Ronnie Coleman's story, he was actually a person who didn't win Mr. Olympia first few years, but on one night he made one small decision where he ate pizzas and also drank vodka, as I know, and which made him get dry, and the next day he ended up having the best condition, which led him towards winning 8 Mr. Olympia shows. And that's actually an inspirational story in my view, if you take it from there. And at the same time, just because he cannot walk anymore, the man is still lifting. How many of you who are listening to this video isn't actually doing anything just because your lower back hurts or certain aspects hurts? My body hurts a lot so many days, but I still take action, and some days I take time to recover, but I still take action. So if you actually see it from that perspective, you need to see that story as an inspiration. And more importantly, the reason why he actually in this same place where he cannot walk anymore is not because he did bodybuilding. It's just the way he did bodybuilding. He was actually lifting the weights where nobody was lifting in the gym, which caused him to cause injuries, because if you've actually been watching his videos, most of the lifts he was doing, the form wasn't actually ideal, but he was pulling very heavy lifts, which caused him to be at the situation he's at. So if you actually go into the actual details, you will know it was not bodybuilding which caused him the injury, it was actually the way he was doing it. So just because I say or somebody says it on social media, saying that don't lift weights because you're not going to lose body fat, they are right. But that's not the whole story. That's what I'm going to be explaining here. So always understand, do your own research. When somebody who's actually like in a prestigious position says something, doesn't mean they're right. Sometimes they don't have any fucking clue what they're talking about. They just say it just to get views. So always understand, do your own research, even for the things which I say, including myself. So let's deep dive into the first part of this live. Grab your coffee, grab your protein shake, or grab your water and sit back and relax and listen to this. So let's begin with the first topic, which is actually understanding how your body burns calories. So let's begin with the basics. So basically, when you are lifting weights, your body primarily uses energy from carbohydrates, not fats. So this is called glycogen. So when you are actually using it as energy for you to lift weights, it doesn't actually tap into your fat stores. So it doesn't directly help you burn body fat. So you need to understand, the reason why you are lifting weights is to get stronger, get better, and look good. And for some people, I would say like to look toned or like look jacked or looks ripped. So the reason why you lift weights is not to like burn body fat. You just want to get stronger. Like the daily activities you do, you need to get stronger. Maybe playing with your kids, bending down and grabbing stuff. If it is difficult, lifting weights actually helps you do those things better than before if you are doing the exercises properly. So many people mistake this concept, thinking lifting weights immediately taps into your fat stores. But that's not precisely how your body works. So comprehensive study published in the Journal of Physiology, PubMed ID, I would say 120701449, clearly demonstrates like when you're doing intense exercises, intense strength training, your muscles rely significantly more on glycogen than fats. So understanding the distinction between these two critical elements will actually give you a realistic expectations. So it doesn't mean like, so let's say this. So in order to lose body fat, you need to have your energy expenditure here, energy intake here. So if your energy expenditure is here, in order to make it higher, doing weight training doesn't make this move much. It doesn't burn much calories. But the second point will explain to you why it's still important for you to do that. If you do more steps here, it'll actually help you increase your energy expenditure because that's your daily activities. So that's number one, understanding how your body burns calories. So it doesn't tap into your fat stores, it taps into your glycogen stores when you're working out. So especially if you're having a high calorie meal or a high carb meal, it's ideal for you to have 2 hours before your weight training session, because it will help you digest the food as well as perform better in the gym. So carbs are things like fuel when you're running a car. When there's no fuel, you can't actually drive the car. So when you're actually like in a place where you need to lift weights, you need a little bit of carbs to actually strengthen that workout. So that's actually how it's supposed to be. So number two, let's moving on to that, is actually the power of muscle growth. So even though directly it doesn't help you burn body fat, when you're lifting weights, it's gonna help you improve your metabolic rate. Because when you're lifting weights and doing it right, like progressive overloading, that's a different topic another day, it's gonna help you build muscles in the process. Or else, if you're in a calorie deficit, in most circumstances, it's gonna help you retain the muscle mass. So based on studies, like if you actually be in a calorie deficit without actually doing any strength training, only focusing on the diet, you're gonna lose weight. And there's actually 3 groups of people they actually studied on that. So basically one of the things which has happened was the group 1 who only focused on the diet lost weight, and all 3 groups, the second group only did cardio, and the third group did strength training. So all 3 groups actually lost the same weight in 12 weeks time. But the difference was the group which only focused on the diet lost 70% of the weight from your fat mass and 30% went from your muscle mass. And when it came to the second group, it was somewhere around, I would say 80% I guess, but 20% went from your fat mass, muscle mass. And the third group, actually the interesting fact was the fact that like 97% of the weight was dropped from their fat mass. So they only lost only 3% of their muscle mass when they were actually in a calorie deficit while strength training. So when you're lifting weights, it's gonna help you retain your muscle mass or else increase your muscle mass. So building muscles through resistance training significantly have a bigger impact on your metabolic rate. So why I'm saying that is actually like based on the European Journal of Nutrition posted this, or PubMed ID it's 205-17391, showed that increased muscle mass elevates your metabolism. So when your muscle mass is higher, it helps you burn calories even throughout the day when you are resting. So it means when you have more muscle mass, it doesn't mean like it's a large amount of calories you can consume. It's a small amount, but the calories you can consume to be on your deficit can go a little bit higher. So there are benefits of it, and that's actually the point 2 which I wanted to address about. And number 3 is actually the body composition and the scale weight. So I had a client who actually dropped only 1 kilo in the first 4 to 5 weeks. But if I actually took his pictures, the difference was massive. So the reason being, he was in a calorie deficit, and also he was actually like lifting weights regularly, about 3 to 4 days a week. So because of this, he improved his body composition, meaning he lost body fat while increasing his muscle mass. So when it happens, your scale doesn't show that much. So if you're frustrated about the scale doesn't drop much, you need to understand this concept. 1 kilo of fat and 1 kilo of muscle mass weighs exactly the same, but the fat mass takes more space in your body, muscle mass takes smaller space in your body. So when you're in that place, if you actually put on 1 kilo of muscle and drop 1 kilo of fat mass, it won't show on the scale, but on the pictures there will be a massive difference. So the reason why you should be lifting weights at least 3 times a week, even 30 minutes would be ideal, or resistance training I would say, is to improve your body composition that way. That means not get discouraged or not use the scale as the indicator of progress, because at the end of the day you will look leaner and healthier and even tighter. Like that means you will feel good in your own skin without having excess fat hanging in your body when you do resistance training, because you're gonna build muscle mass, which is gonna improve your metabolic rate. And based on the study which was done in the Journal of Obesity, PubMed ID 32840163 found that consistent resistance training significantly enhances body composition. That means reducing fat percentage and increasing muscle mass. So like the example I said before, 1 kilo of muscle mass and 1 kilo of fat mass is what I mean by that. So don't let the scale discourage you when you're making progress in your fitness journey. Don't think lifting weight isn't going to help you lose weight. It's going to help you reduce fat. So losing fat and losing weight are two different things. Losing weight is actually dropping a number on the scale. You can go from it, you can lose that from your muscle mass or else as well as your fat mass. But losing fat is only about losing fat mass. So don't solely rely on the scale as an indicator of progress. Always understand, check pictures on a week-to-week basis, because that way you will actually see how your body is changing. So some instances, like if you actually are a person who's actually only focusing on losing weight, always understand when you lose muscle mass, it's not going to help you increase your metabolic rate, which means you're not going to burn more calories when you're not building muscle mass. When you lose muscle mass, it's going to reduce your metabolic rate. So if you have actually seen people losing 20-30 kilos just focusing on the diet, good job on that. But sometimes you actually have seen people gaining weight back again, or else the weight loss they have actually gone through, you see the body shrinking, and sometimes it might not even look good, and you might not feel you have strength, or else you might not feel you have energy, you feel weak when you are not doing strength training. So always understand the difference between the scale change and also the body composition change. So that's segment 3 which I wanted to cover up. So hope you got value out of this one. And number 4 is the hormone, the hidden drivers of fat loss, which is one of the other factors I want to talk about. So lifting weights has a fascinating benefits. So one of those benefits would be actually hormonal organization. So resistance training will actually have a positive impact on hormones like testosterone and as well as growth hormones, which is essential for fat metabolism as well as muscle growth. So what I mean by that, so hormones facilitate your body's natural ability to burn fat more. So comprehensive review which was done by Sports Medicine PubMed ID 278-37307 emphasizes that resistance training elevates your anabolic hormone, which means it indirectly enhances fat loss, fat burning capability, and improving your overall body composition. So which means that when you're actually doing resistance training or lifting weights, in another way to say it, you will not directly burn body fat, but indirectly it helps you with the process of losing body fat. So to summarize, always understand, if somebody says that don't lift weights, you're not going to lose body fat, they're right, but it's not the whole picture. So just because somebody says it with proper recognition, it doesn't mean they're always right. Even for the things I'm saying, always do your own research and understand it from that perspective, because that way you will get a better understanding of it. So more into this topic, like always understand, doing bodybuilding is actually your own choice whether to go enhanced or natural, but it doesn't mean it's actually something which will actually get you injuries unless you don't do it right, or else you will have back pain and all these pains. It's not as the way people actually describe it. You don't need to be in a place you need to think narrow-mindedly like that. Lifting weights is gonna help you reduce back pain in the long run when you do it right, because it's gonna strengthen the areas of your body. And at the same time, just like that, it applies to reducing belly fat. Just because you do ab exercises, it doesn't magically disappear your fats. Fats disappear when you are being in a calorie deficit. When you actually do exercises, it will strengthen the area you're working on. So that's the thing you need to focus on. So to summarize this podcast, you need to understand resistance training primarily use glycogen during your workout. So this is where it's important for you to have carbs before your workout. Like let's say you're having a smaller carb source, you can actually work out within the next 15 to 30 minutes. It could be a source of banana, rice cakes, or things like that. And number 2, which I summarized, was actually building muscles through lifting weights increases your metabolism, and metabolism which supports sustainable fat loss. So few of my clients, when I want to talk about it, is actually they dropped 30 kilos in 2021, and to this day they've been maintaining it. The reason being, they didn't actually go through that process by just running on the treadmill, or most of my clients don't run. And actually, like 0 clients run unless they are an athlete who loves running. I don't actually recommend anyone to run to actually lose body fat. Only thing you need to run is actually to make sure if you enjoy it. But if you don't enjoy it, if you forcefully do it, you don't need to run whatsoever. Because when you are losing weight, it's good. But if you actually feel weaker when you lose weight, that's not good. So that's a recipe for a disaster. So always understand, so the clients who have lost more than 30 kilos in few years ago are still maintaining it, because that's my purpose of coaching individuals to get the best results. Not just to get results in 16 weeks time, but to sustain it long term, because the habits you actually implement in your lifestyle while going through my program is what you keep for the rest of your life. So number 3 of the segment which I summarized was actually the improving body composition, which offers visible results even the scale doesn't drop. So always don't rely on the scale to track your progress. Rely on pictures, and if you're feeling better, if your clothes are fitting in, that's an indicator of progress. And people are noticing the changes, that's also an indicator of progress. Number 4 is actually hormonal changes, lifting weights. when you are lifting weights indirectly supports fat loss because it helps you improve your growth hormones and also increase your testosterone level. And more importantly, the most important factor for you to lose weight is to be in a calorie deficit. Because calorie deficit is what's actually going to get the results to lose body fat. Because if somebody says it's not that case, they are actually saying Earth is little flat, not round. So always understand, focus on consistency and patience, because short-term fixes don't actually fix the long-term issue. If there's a wound in your body, you need to put medicine to it, not put a plaster to it. So always understand, you need to make a lifestyle change to get the best results. So hope you got value out of this, and if you actually like this video, like this podcast episode, share it on your social media handle. I would highly appreciate that. So let's go, let's dominate and have the best week ever, and talk to you soon.